they have now blown up their team. 3 players already elsewhere. Al Horford could be next. We'll get into that. And no Jason Tatum. That would be 5. 5 of the 9 gone. So you mean to tell me that it's championship aspirations? No. Instead, it's compete like hell to win the next game. Brad Stevens on the trades, and the reason for the trades, he mentioned it was the second apron. So just tell us it's the money. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you telling me that it was about the money, because that's why they blew this thing up. They blew this thing up because of the money, the money, the money. But he's very high on the players they got back in trade in Simons and Niang. He also says he likes who they brought in free agency, Garza, Minot, etc. Did make mention of some of the players on the team have never been in a retool situation. Well, that's because for the last 10 years, the Celtics have been in the Eastern Conference Championship conversation every single year. They've gone to 2 NBA finals. They've won 1. They had a chance to go back again this year. They didn't. So, yeah, guys like Peyton Pritchard have never experienced this. Jaylen Brown barely has ever experienced this besides his opening year. Most of these guys don't know what it's like to be a middling NBA team. Brad Stevens also talked about the future of Al Horford. Quote, I'd say that's unlikely. So it's been at least reported that Al is considering retirement, Denver, or the Golden State Warriors. As for the roster, Brad Stevens also said that center won't be highlighted on paper as the strength, given what their players have done in their career, says it's on them to prove that otherwise. So they're going with a big man by committee. Oh, what could go wrong? What could go wrong with that? Also on Joe Mazzulla, Brad Stevens says that they want Joe Mazzulla there for a long time, which I assume is him when he says they. It sounds like he's got multiple years remaining. Maybe there's a contract extension on the way. Whatever, they're going with the Mazzulla ball and maybe making some tweaks this offseason to it. Another thing that Brad Stevens emphasized today was maximizing Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown's windows together. Quote, since I moved into this role, my entire role has been making sure we maximize around those guys. So, I look at it and say it's not their goal to get under the luxury tax, but they had to. They also would probably need to shed another $54 million to get under both taxes, or both aprons, excuse me. So I think they're fine with paying a tax. It's the aprons. So realistically, if they wanted to reset the tax and not pay an apron tax this year either, they'd have to unload again $54 million to do that. I think it's going to happen. Now, one of the things he did indicate was that they are happy with where they're at because of their future assets. If you saw yesterday, the Drew Holiday trade got tweaked because of some of the medicals on Drew Holiday. Well, there were 2 future second-round picks coming this way to the Celtics. Those ended up staying with Portland. Now, I get it. Second-round picks are being tossed around like crazy in the league, but multiple second-round picks can help you move up in the first. You can trade second-round picks for first-round picks or just buy the picks. That's how that league works. It's about being a math problem. That's what it's about. So I think they need to remove 3 to 4 more players if they do get under that. So is the roster set with where they're at? It can't be. But Stevens did mention some things about Simons and Niang. We'll get into that on the other side. But they have many more moves to make here. Maybe they are waiting things out with some of the other players or if any trades move. But they mentioned being flexible and flexibility. And, for years, one thing with the Celtics was when Danny Ainge was here, they always had up-and-coming players. They always had enough future picks to move. And when someone became available, they were in on it. Now, at the time, nobody wanted to play for the Celtics. That was a fact. People didn't want to come to the town. So it didn't matter if they had 3 first-round picks or could trade great young players. Now, though, Tatum and Brown, I think that's what they're waiting for. I think they're just going to wait and see. And I don't know if the wait and see approach is always the greatest thing, but they're not in a rush to get back into contention. And maybe that's a good thing. I'm sure some Celtics fans will look at it and say, well, we knew this. I don't. I want competitive basketball. I want this team to compete for a championship. That's what I want. So that's why I'm down, and that's why I'm sour on the Celtics and what I heard today. Now, I do want to see some players develop. I do want to see some guys get playing time to see what can happen. But realistically, as the roster consists, they're not a championship contender. And since they're still at the second apron, think about that. Still not a championship contender. So realistically, people, the Celtics could be moving on or will not have 5 players from their championship team. They're going to run it back with 4 of them next year. And they want to preach flexibility. Just don't tell us it's not about the money. Because that's why you made the moves. And yeah, maybe you'll pay a tax. Maybe you will. But you're worse because you wanted to save the money. And when you look at the entire conference right now, you had another chance. There is no clear-cut favorite in the Eastern Conference. There isn't. And as Jason Tatum's in a boot, where, again, Brad Stevens wanted to remind everybody that that's their biggest issue, and Jaylen Brown coming back from a knee injury, we're just supposed to sit here and wait for them to make some sort of financial move to get back into contention? Fury. Skaz, you heard Brad Stevens today. He told us it was because of the second apron why he made the trades. So they've made all the trades, Skaz. They're still at the second apron. But, they saved lots of money. Lots of money. But don't give me getting out of here has nothing to do with the money. No. It has everything. They made all the moves, and they're still at the second apron. So, today, I'm pissed because they're a worse basketball team. I don't know how you came away with today.
I came away from today kind of, I don't know where I've been, Joe. Nothing the Celtics have done this offseason has surprised me. We were told for months, years, it felt like even, that this was going to happen. They were going to, have to shed salary. And it's not a Bill Chisholm thing. If Wick was still the owner, they were doing this anyways. That we were told that when they went in on Holiday, when they went in on Porzingis, this was all going to happen. So I think the reaction, it is what it is. I do think the Tatum thing, magnifies it and gives them more of an out. But I think they were
in a boot.
In a boot.
To remind you again.
In a boot. I saw him in the pool. Look good, dude.
Yeah. Love water exercise.
Makes me nervous though. It's it feels early. Take your time. Take your time, Jason. We need you. But yeah, I mean, the Cornette thing has been a little much for me, I would say, over the last couple of days. Very nice player, very good player, but I had to listen to everybody tell me how bad he was for the last couple of years, and now they're awful because he's gone. I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of talking out of both sides of the mouth when it comes to the Celtics right now. They lost, a guy who was never on the floor in Porzingis, I was told constantly, and Luke Cornett, who was wildly overrated by Celtics fans.
Drew Holiday's washed.
Drew Holiday was good. I'm not going to take anything away from Drew Holiday. He's an elite player. Yes, but I'm just saying from, the people that say Luke Cornett was awesome, and then, other media members saying, well, he's terrible, and then Porzingis was never out there. So how big really is the loss? I'm not sure. I think they needed to get younger. I think they needed to get healthier. They can't do the Tatum and Brown, 80 games a year at 40 minutes anymore. That's not going to happen again. So nothing they've done surprised me. The way they did it surprised me a little bit. I do think the Holiday trade being kind of reworked is what they're calling it or whatever. Losing those picks is somewhat of a bigger deal than maybe people think.
I still like the deal because they didn't have to give up anything.
Yeah, I still like the deal. I would say it's still a good deal, but it's not the Brad Stevens fleeced him or you got a great look at Brad doing it. No, it was a basketball trade. I feel bad for Drew that he has to go to Portland now. That sucks for him, but I know we both took different things away from Stevens' comments today on Simons. I'm sure we'll get into that at some point.
We'll get into that in a little bit. It was interesting. His commentary, I took it differently than you did. But just real quick, I'm on the side where, they're not going for a championship. I'm sure there's maybe some chip on the shoulder of some of the players, and they'll probably be better than I'm saying they will be right now, or maybe what odds makers think for that matter. Like, could they win close to 50 games? Maybe.
I think 43.5 is the line. I think I looked. There are 13 teams with projected higher win totals. I don't see the Celtics being the 14th best team in the NBA next year. I think they're going to be a top 5 seed in the East.
Okay.
So
we agree then.
Yes.
So we agree that they are worse today. It's because of the money. And after all the moves that they have made, they're still in the second apron and still have the same penalties. Yet, they don't have a big man, which I'm sorry. I can't believe this, but I was trying to write out. This is why I need the whiteboard in here. But I was trying to put who would be the starting 5 right now. Do you want to know what I wrote down? Trey's laughing already. I got Peyton Pritchard at point guard, Derek White at 2 guard, Jaylen Brown at the 3, Hauser at the 4.
No.
No. Do you get what I'm saying here? And I got Kate at the 5? Because I don't know. You mean it? What is this crap you're going to give us? I know Jaylen Brown's good. Derek White's good. Peyton Pritchard can play. I get it. Sam Hauser, 3 and D. Okay. I get Simons coming off the bench. Whatever it is. Could it be still Hauser and Pritchard off the bench? Fine. With Garza? I don't know. Why not? They're not a championship contender, and that's where I stand today. But I am curious what other fans think. Like, there are other people like, well, we knew this was going to happen, Skaz.
Yeah, it's kind of where I'm at.
We knew this was going to happen. No. Like, you made all the moves, saved all your money, and you're still at the second apron and your team stinks.
Yeah, but do you want them to try and win a championship this year? Because I don't.
Well, no. Remember, my take originally was don't play Brown or Tatum. Get back into the lottery.
Yeah, that's a little strong even for me, Joe.
But this was hindsight now, because I said that when the season ended.
Yeah, I think it's a totally different. If Jason Tatum is fully healthy and they're doing this and not adding, anything, that they lose all those contracts and aren't trying to win a championship, then I have a problem. Then I have an issue with what they're doing, because they have to maximize the Tatum and Brown window. But everything they're doing, whether fans like it or not, they're setting themselves up to still maximize the Tatum and Brown window. It's just the next year. It's very Red Sox of them. Guys, just wait until next year. That's when we're going to do it. But the reason I don't treat it as the Red Sox, because the Celtics have actually done it. They've actually spent to get, and you could say, oh, well, that was last ownership. Well, I can't, it's not one of our, commandments, but you can't penalize them for something that they haven't done yet. So
I've heard that somewhere before.
I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because they have done it. Brad Stevens has gone above and beyond for guys and won a title and paid out contracts. So I'm okay with them not shelling out $40 million for Luke Cornett so that they can, lose in the second round in a year where Tatum's not out there. That does nothing for me.
I agree with that. But could you have kept Porzingis and Holiday and still be at the second apron where you are today?
Saying I was done with Porzingis is strong, but with Tatum and Brown and now the injuries, like, you can't rely on a guy like Porzingis anymore. You could do it before because they were younger, healthier. You had the roster.
They were deeper too, yeah.
They were a deeper team. You can't do that anymore. You're going to have to rework it. This is going to be like when the Warriors went through, their rework. Like, this is what happens. It's going to be your core of Tatum, Brown, and White, and then you're going to have to mix and match the pieces around it.
I just got Gabe in West Roxbury goes, wait, I thought Drew and Porzingis took them under the second apron. They can't win a championship this year. Why not reset? So, now granted, just so people know this, they have until the trade deadline to unload some players. If they want to move on from Simons, they can trade him. They can do that. They can trade George Niang, who's in the last year of his deal. They could trade anybody, really, at the deadline. So, me saying that, look where they are today, second apron, blah, 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 I'm just trying to relate it to you could have still had Porzingis and Holiday without Tatum, and really you'd still be – okay, let's say they kept Porzingis and Holiday, guys. Where do you see them in the East without Tatum?
Three, probably,
okay, so
yeah.
so 3 to 5, save all the money.